Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf for IT Visualizer channel. Today we'll continue our Lambda Matrix labs, the video number 87. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have used previously the AI tools to create some situations and circumstances through which we can use the event viewer to solve these situations or these circumstances. For example, if we need to, for example, troubleshoot some replication issues, we need to open the event viewer and search for certain events or certain event IDs. For example, if we need to investigate someone that has logged in on a machine in our domain, we need to go to the domain controller and search the event viewer for certain event IDs and more complex situations and circumstances using the AI tools, and through it we can investigate and solve issues using the event viewer. So today I will continue working with the AI tools to provide us with more events or more situations we can use through it, the event viewer, to solve these situations or these circumstances. I need to show you all certain PDF that I was working with it a couple of years ago. This is a PDF called Windows Event Log Analysis. This is a couple of events every IT should focus on and try to investigate these events or to read these events and analyze them every month or every whatsoever or every period of time. This is a couple of very important events. Some of them are for account management, some of them are for account login and log off events. We will see uh, what are these events, what are their numbers, what they are talking about, and we will create some scenarios uh, by the AI using these events. Okay, so by using the AI tools to create situations using these events, we can uh, try to solve it by opening the event viewer and searching these events. We will see now a couple of explanations from ChatGPT 4.0 and Claude concerning these events. What are they talking about? Some hands-on exercise, some explanation or dialogue between some IT personnel to explain these events, and a security case concerning these events. So let's go and see first what are these events. If we go to ChatGPT, here I've asked him to, or I've already uploaded the PDF to the AI and tell him to explain the events. Okay, can you list all of the event IDs from Windows Event Log Analysis reference PDF in a table with a simple explanation in a separate answer? So we can see here is the events. Let's read it out loudly and see what are these events exactly.
Below is a table listing event IDs from the Windows Event Log Analyst Reference PDF, along with simple explanations. Event ID, description, an account's password. 4720, a user account was created. A user account was enabled. A user attempted to change an account's password. 44724, an attempt was made to reset an account's password. A user account was disabled. A user account was deleted. A security-enabled local group was created. A member was added to a security-enabled local group. A member was removed from a security-enabled local group. A computer account was created. A member was added to a security-enabled universal group. A Kerberos authentication ticket was requested. A Kerberos service ticket was requested. A Kerberos pre-authentication failed. NTLM authentication attempted. An account successfully logged on. An account failed to log on. An account logged off. A user initiated logoff. A scheduled task was created. A scheduled task was deleted. A scheduled task was enabled. 701. A scheduled task was disabled. A scheduled task was updated. An attempt was made to access an object. System audit policy was changed. The audit log was cleared. The event log service was started. The event log service was stopped. A service terminated unexpectedly. A service entered a running or stopped state. The start type of a service was changed. 45. A new service was installed. PowerShell pipeline execution was logged. 40104. PowerShell script block execution was logged. A new process was created. The Windows filtering platform allowed a connection. The Windows filtering platform blocked a connection. 801. A WLAN service successfully connected to a wireless network. A WLAN service failed to connect to a wireless network. This list covers many commonly observed Windows event IDs, along with a brief description of their purpose for system logging and analysis. Let me know if you need further details or an expanded list since for a source.
So as you can see, these are a lot of events. I asked him to categorize them. So for example, all of these events are related to account management. What we mean by account management: creating a user. Just a moment, guys. So let's continue, guys. Here, these are the events concerning the creation of accounts in Active Directory. This account refer to a user, okay, refer to a group, refer to a computer account, create a user account, enable user account, disable user account, delete a user account, and the same for groups, creating groups, I think, and deleting groups maybe. And some of them is important, like removing a member from a group, adding a member to a group, the opposite. A computer account was created. So all of these are very, very important events that we can view through the event viewer, and they are very, very important for troubleshooting different scenarios or different situations. Then we have authentication and login events related to the Kerberos ticket, NTLM ticket, or NTLM authentication, I think. Login, successful login, unsuccessful login, log off. Okay, a user initiated log off. So on account, I think what is the difference between both? I don't know, but anyway. So we can see here also a couple of things. Schedule task events. This is an event where you create a schedule task and delete a schedule task, enable a schedule task, disable a schedule task, update a schedule task. Object access event, when you try to attempt to access a file or something, but I think this we should enable audit. If you need to see who has accessed a certain file or folder, you need to enable the audit feature, and then go enable the audit feature in general on the domain controller, and then enable audit especially on that folder you need to monitor. Okay, and then we have audit policy and log management. So here, if someone has turned off the audit feature, this will be recorded. If someone is trying to delete the logs related to the audit feature, also this is recorded. This is very, very good if some hacker is if a hacker is trying to delete his traces. Okay, this also is a good thing. And we have system and service events. For example, an event log service was started, event log service was stopped. This is the Windows service which is called event log service. If this is stopped or started, if it is stopped, then we will not have any events recorded in the event viewer. So this is the starting of the event log service, enabling or stop or start. A service terminated unexpectedly, any Windows service that terminated unexpectedly. This is also one of the good indicators of a problem. Maybe a service is responsible for running a certain program, or a service is responsible for a certain operation in the Windows, and it is terminated. This will affect the operation or the program or the software. So we have all of these. We have service entered a running or stop state. So this is a good thing. We have the start type. If the service or the Windows service is started automatically or manually, we have a new service installed. So all of these are very, very important events for any IT to monitor. Okay, and most of the problems we will find one of these events listed in the event viewer. For example, if you have a problem with a service not or a program is not working, then you will see maybe the service that is responsible for running the program is terminated unexpectedly. We have also PowerShell logging. If any hacker tried to use PowerShell to execute his hacking process, this will be recorded. Every command he has used, it will be recorded in the event viewer. But also we need to enable this kind of logging by enable audit of PowerShell. Okay, the audit feature of the PowerShell. Okay, and we have process tracking also related to any process. Maybe the hacker is running a software or a program that or a malware or something, it is run through the operating system. This will be a new process was created. Anyway, we can go further. We have seen also some network and firewall events. For example, allowed a remote connection, I think, or blocked a remote connection maybe. And we have wireless LAN. This is for laptops. If you have connected to a wireless network successfully, failed to connect to a wireless network, this is also recorded. So we see a lot of good events. All of these can help us in solving a lot of problems. If we go to Claude, I think I have given him the same question. I have feed him up with the PDF, and then I think I have asked it to explain the content or explain these events one by one, or try to explain them all, uh, like I am a junior IT, and how this is related to Active Directory, provide a real world scenario, and include common pitfalls. So if I go to ChatGPT and give him the same prompt, let's try to read out loudly this answer and see how these events can help us solve a lot of problems. Let's read that.
Certainly. Here's an explanation of the event IDs in Active Directory AD, tailored for a junior IT administrator. I'll break it into concepts, real-world scenarios, and pitfalls to avoid. 1. Account management events. Concept account management events track changes to user accounts, group memberships, and computer accounts in Active Directory. Key event IDs. Description. Key event ID. A user account was created. A user account was enabled. A user account was disabled. A user account was deleted. A member was added to a local group. A member was removed from a local group. A computer account was created. Real-world scenario. Imagine you're onboarding a new employee, John Doe, into your organization. 1. You create a user account for John in Active Directory Users and Computers, ADUC. Event ID 4720 is logged. A user account was created. 2. John later goes on vacation, so you disable his account temporarily. Event ID 425 is logged. A user account was disabled. 3. When John returns, you enable the account. Event ID 4722 is logged. A user account was enabled. 4. John is leaving the company, so you delete his account. Event ID 4726 is logged. A user account was deleted. 5. John is part of the sales team, so you add him to the sales group. Event ID 4732 is logged. A member was added to a group. Common pitfalls to avoid. 1. No audit logging enabled. If you don't enable audit policies, these events won't be logged. Always ensure account management logging is turned on via group policy. 2. Neglecting group membership changes. Adding a user to groups like domain admins gives them immense privileges. Always review Event ID 4732 carefully. 3. Deleting accounts too quickly. Deleting a user account immediately can cause issues with file ownership and access permissions. Instead, disable the account first and wait 30 days before deletion. And logon events. Concept logon events occur when a user or service authenticates to AD. It tracks successful logins and failed attempts. Key event IDs. Concept logon events of 4624, a successful logon, a failed logon attempt. 4768, Kerberos TGT was requested, user authentication. Tash, real-world scenario. Imagine John Doe is logging into his computer at the office. 1. Successful login. John enters the correct password and logs in. Event ID 4624 is logged. An account successfully logged on. 2. Failed login attempt. John enters the wrong password by accident. Event ID 4625 is logged. A failed logon attempt occurred. This event shows the username and the reason, e.g. incorrect password. 3. Domain authentication with Kerberos. When John logs in, the AD domain controller issues a Kerberos TGT ticket-granting ticket for authentication. Event ID 4768 is logged. A Kerberos authentication ticket was requested. Common pitfalls to avoid. 1. Ignoring failed logins. Multiple failed logins. Event ID 4625 in a short period might indicate a brute force attack or password guessing. Investigate suspicious activity. 2. Missing Kerberos events. Without proper audit policies, Event ID 4768 won't log Kerberos tickets, making troubleshooting harder. 3. Unmonitored service accounts. Service accounts are used by applications to authenticate. If an attacker misuses them, they may trigger logon events you need to investigate. Scheduled task events. Concept scheduled tasks in Windows automate processes like updates, scripts, or maintenance. Event logs track task creation, modification, and execution. Key event IDs. Description ID, description 698. A scheduled task was created. 469, a scheduled task was deleted. A scheduled task was updated. Real-world scenario. The IT team creates a scheduled task to run a PowerShell script that cleans up temporary files every day. 1. You create the task using Task Scheduler. Event ID 4698 is logged. A scheduled task was created. 2. A suspicious task appears that runs a file from c/temp. Event ID 4698 alerts you to the task creation. Investigating it reveals malware execution. 3. A hacker modifies a scheduled task to run a malicious script. Event ID 4702 is logged. A scheduled task was updated. Common pitfalls to avoid. 1. Not reviewing new tasks. Attackers often create scheduled tasks to maintain persistence on systems. 2. Tasks with generic names. Avoid creating tasks with names like Task 1 or Update, as attackers mimic these names to blend in. 4. PowerShell logging events. Concept PowerShell logs provide insight into scripts executed on your network. This is critical as attackers commonly use PowerShell for malicious purposes. Key event IDs. 413, PowerShell pipeline execution was logged. PowerShell script block execution logged. Real-world scenario. An attacker gains access to John's computer and runs a PowerShell script to download malware. 1. Malicious script execution. Event ID 413 and 4104 are logged, showing the PowerShell command that was executed. For example, invoke web request -URI http:/malware-site.com outfile sastemp malware.exe. 2. Investigate the log and confirm the script downloaded malware. Hash common pitfalls to avoid. 1. Not enabling PowerShell logging. PowerShell logging is not enabled by default. Use group policy to turn on script block logging and module logging. 2. Ignoring script warnings. Pay attention to script warnings in Event ID 4104, as PowerShell may flag them as suspicious. 5. Object access events. Concept tracks access to files, folders, or other objects. Key event IDs. Event ID. Description. 4663. An attempt was made to access an object. Real-world scenario. John is trying to access a sensitive folder containing financial reports. 1. You enable object access auditing on the folder. When John accesses the folder, Event ID 463 is logged. 2. Later, you notice that an unauthorized account tried to access the same folder, triggering multiple 4663 events. This may indicate an insider threat. Common pitfalls to avoid. 1. Over-auditing files. Enabling object access on too many files generates log overload. Audit only sensitive folders and files. 2. Not monitoring failed access. Ignoring failed access attempts can let intruders go undetected. By understanding these event IDs and how they fit into Active Directory, you can better monitor activity, detect suspicious behavior, and keep your environment secure. Avoid the pitfalls by enabling proper auditing and actively reviewing logs. Let me know if you'd like further clarification on any specific event ID.
So as we can see here, this is very, very good explanation of all of the events. And another thing I forgot to say, guys, there is another PDF you can download from Ultimate, something called Windows or Ultimate Windows Security. Okay, this is a website. You can download this PDF from. This is concerning or a quick security log reference. For example, if you have a failed login, you will see in the or event 4625, you will see some additional data. For example, in the event log 4625, you may see something called login type section and contains some information. This is how you can interpret or know what these numbers do or what they refer to. For example, 7 unlock. I think this is related to successful or failed login. So in the 2 you have a section in them called login types, contains some numbers. These are important or the numbers what they refer to. We have user account changes, some events, okay, related to account created, account enabled, user changed his own password. You can see privileged user changed his user password. This is domain admin changed password. Account is disabled, account is deleted. All of this related to user account changes. Account is changed, the password is changed, is locked out, unlocked, name change. This is very, very useful. Domain control authentication events, so you can see all of these things, okay, or you can download this PDF, which is very, very useful. You can go to Ultimate. Here is the website, and you can download. Here's, I think, the PDF. I saw it. Here's the security log, and you can download this one. Okay. This is free quick reference, and this is free Windows Event Collection Management. I don't know what this is for. Maybe this is for making a centralized software for collecting logs. Anyway, so you can see this is a quick reference you can use. Here is the quick reference. You can go and put your email address and he will send you this PDF. Okay, and any event related to security, you can go to the encyclopedia and see any type of event. You can see it here and it will give you the explanation of it. For example, an audit log was created. Here you go. This is the explanation. Okay, and this is the fields in the let's see, the fields in the event. So you will have this event, this is the number, and you will see some data included in the event. Okay, you will see this, the subject, security ID, account name, domain name, login name, the one that has cleared the log, who is the user that cleared the audit log, and some useful information you can use to trace some or to explain what is happening exactly. Here, as you can see, examples of 1102, the audit log was cleared. This is the one that has deleted the audit log, and you have a couple of data here, login ID, the domain name, the account, and so on. So the domain name here, this is refers to a local user on the machine, because this is not a domain, this is the name of the PC. Okay, so anyway, this is a very, very good reference for any security events you need to analyze or to have an info about it. Any security or Windows Event Security, you can see it from the Ultimate IT Security website or Ultimate Windows Security. Okay, so let me see if there is some tools here. Free Supercharge, a glance, single pane of glass views of the entire Windows Event Collection environment. Free Active Directory Audit. So what is Supercharge Free? A glance, a single pane of glass view of the entire Windows Event Collection environment. What is Supercharge Free? Let's see this one. Uh, Stop wrestling with Event Viewer. At a glance of it, of the Windows pre-built security filters with no okay. Explore, supercharge, integrate cement displays environment in a single centrally managed subscriptions. Okay, so you need this is like collecting logs, okay, or making a centralized log server maybe. Anyway, so this is it. If you go and see Claude and ask him to explain the same, let me see here. So I have given him also the PDF and ask him to explain the content of this PDF. Here I didn't ask him to give me uh, a table of the events, but later I have done this. So we can see here, for example, here is the events. We can see, let me give you an explanation. Here are the events, okay. Also, we don't need to read them. Okay, all of these are also categorized like like ChatGPT or one have done, and I asked him to do a simple thing. If I need to have a PowerShell commandlet to get any one of these events, so here is giving me the PowerShell commandlet to do so. So here, for example, let me show you what Claude had given me. For example, if I need to have the successful login events and I need this to be displayed on my PowerShell session and to export it to a CSV file, here we can do this. So let me show you. I have copied it like this. So what I have done, I asked Claude again to modify the table, remove simple exclamation column and add PowerShell commandlet and give command PowerShell to get these events and display them in a table format or export them to CSV file. If I go to PowerShell ISE, for example, and this as administrator, and okay, let me put this script here so you can display the successful login events on the screen of the PowerShell, and he is giving both or here, sorry, here if I remove the last section from here, if I remove this one, he will display all the login events, successful login events on the screen. If I added this line, it will export it to a CSV file. So let's do something like this one. I will do like D, double click or so. This is to export it to my D partition. But first, before doing that, I will make something like Control X, and let's go and try to run the script and see what it will do. As we can see here, this is the events or the successful events. We can see here is the table, time created, the user, the login type, the source IP. So we can see the login type here. If we go to this PDF, which comes here in handy, if we try to see what he means by 5 here, this is service, okay? This is a login or a service account logging into the Windows, okay? So this is a service account. So this is a normal operation. This is a service account. If you go there and try to see, this is a system, or the system is considered a service account, and this type login or login type is 5. So this is a service account logging in. This is a normal operation, and you can see the IP address or the source IP address 127.0.0.1. This refers to my loopback IP, or this is referring to my local workstation. Okay, we can see, for example, Karim has logged in 2012 today at 10:5:42. This is my name. 2 here refers to an interactive login. If you go there and see, we have an interactive logins. Okay, this is a local user or a domain user maybe logging into the machine. If this is a remote session, we will have the login type 10. Okay, remote desktop. Okay, so we have a lot of data. We can from it know what exactly this user have done. So if we go now and, for example, I need to export this data to a CSV file, then I can add again this section and we will clear the screen and then we will run the script again. So now it is already exported. If I go to my departition and try to see this CSV file, if I go there and open this one, we have logins. Here is the CSV file. So now we have clear. If you try to investigate anything, so you can relate it to the login or something, so you have the PowerShell commandlets to do so. You can put it on the screen, or you can export it to a CSV file and then begin filtering the events. So now if, for example, I made to filter, here I make a filter, and then, for example, here I can see all of the users that has already logged into the machine. For example, I need to have Kareem and see when he logged in. He logged in at 10:05 a.m. Okay, so this is a very useful thing to do. So here I asked Claude to do this for all of the events. Okay, so here this is all the PowerShell commandlets that you can use to export these events and display them. And at the end, he is giving you a certain tip. If you need to get this data for a certain amount of time, maybe 7 days by default, it is the data in the event viewer is for 7 days. Maybe you need to get events for more than 7 days. Okay, maybe need for the last hour, maybe the last 24, the last hour, the last 24 hours, 7 days. So you can just add this line to the PowerShell script, if you consider that to be a script, and it will get you the last 7 days of data. And at the end also it is displayed and it is exported. So as we can see here, very useful data, or how the AI can help us to explain different topics. So again, let's see how he has already explained these events. So now I'm asking him to explain the content of the PDF, and let's see how he will explain it. So if we go there and go like this one and try to read the answer. So if you go further down, and here you go, let's read this answer. Read loud.
Hangs, and gradually expand your logging as you become more comfortable with managing and monitoring the events. Let me explain Windows Event Logging in a way that's practical for someone starting with Active Directory administration. Think of Windows Event Logs as your organization's security cameras and audit trail all in one. Just like a security guard monitors multiple camera feeds, as an AD admin, you'll be monitoring various event logs across your domain to understand what's happening in your environment. Real-world scenario. Imagine you're managing a medium-sized company with 500 employees. One morning, an executive reports they can't access their account. Here's how event logs help you investigate. Authentication flow. When an employee tries to log in, their workstation sends the credentials to a domain controller, DC. The DC checks if the credentials are valid. The DC creates event ID 4768, successful authentication, or 4771, failed authentication. The workstation creates event ID 4624, successful logon, or 4625, failed logon. In this case, you might see multiple event ID 4625 entries showing failed login attempts. Looking at the error code, like 0xC0000234, you discover the account is locked due to too many failed attempts. Practical implementation. To set up proper logging. Enable key audit policies. Copy. Computer configuration dash Windows settings dash security settings dash advanced audit policy configuration. Enable audit logon events. Enable audit account logon events. Enable audit account management. Configure log size and retention. Increase the security log size. Default is often too small. Set up log forwarding to a central server. Enable log archiving. Monitor critical events. Account creation, 4720. Password changes, 4724. Account lockouts, 4740. Admin group changes, 4728, 4732. Common pitfalls to avoid. Storage management. Crossmark don't leave default log sizes, white heavy checkmark do increase log sizes, and implement log rotation Y. Default sizes often mean logs get overwritten too quickly, destroying valuable evidence. Event correlation. Crossmark don't look at single events in isolation, white heavy checkmark do correlate events across multiple systems. Example. A failed login, 4625, followed by a successful one, 4624, with different IPs might indicate a brute force attack. Monitoring strategy. Crossmark don't enable every possible audit policy. White heavy checkmark do focus on security relevant events first. Why? Over-auditing creates noise and makes it harder to spot real issues. Log protection. Crossmark don't store logs only on local machines. White heavy checkmark do forward logs to a secure central location. Why? Attackers often try to clear logs to hide their tracks. Pro tips. Create baseline knowledge. Document normal login patterns. Know your typical administrative activities. Understand regular service account behaviors. Set up alerts for critical events. Multiple failed logins. Admin group changes. Service account modifications. After-hours administrative activities. Regular maintenance. Review log sizes monthly. Check failed audit events. Verify log forwarding is working. Test alert mechanisms. Think of event logging like building a security camera system. You need the right coverage, audit policies, enough storage, log sizes, proper monitoring, alerts, and secure storage, log forwarding. Just as you wouldn't put security cameras only at the front door, you shouldn't limit logging to just logon events. Start small with the most critical events, authentication, admin actions, security group changes, and gradually expand your logging as you become more comfortable with managing and monitoring the events. Remember, the goal isn't to log everything, but to log the right things and know how to effectively use that information when needed.
So as we can see here, also another good answer, but I think the answer of ChatGPT is better. And as for the alerting mechanism, there is specialized software that can monitor your events or event IDs on your operating system and alert you for any suspicious events recorded or any activity recorded in the event viewer. Okay, so we have specialized programs to do that. For example, maybe manage engine event log analyzer or something like gray log, I think, event server. I think there is a lot of software that can do that. Okay, so this is also another answer of Claude. If you go to ChatGPT and ask him to give us exercises to explain these events. So let's see here the exercise that ChatGPT has given us. If you go there and ask it to give us the exercise or to read out loud the exercise, let's wait and see.
Below is a set of 6 hands-on exercises to teach junior IT administrators about Windows Event IDs in Active Directory, AD. These exercises focus on real-world scenarios with varying difficulty levels. Exercise 1. Tracking user account creation and deletion. Event IDs 4020. Objective. Learn how to identify and track user account creation and deletion events in Active Directory. Scenario. A new hire, John Doe, joins your company.
So again, I don't know why the read out loud section or the read out loud feature fails after a certain amount of time. So let's go and try to read it out loudly. So here you go.
Exercise 1. Tracking user account creation and deletion. Event IDs 4720, 4726. Objective. Learn how to identify and track user account creation and deletion events in Active Directory. Scenario. A new hire, John Doe, joins your company and you create his user account. Later, you receive a report that a test user account has been deleted. You need to identify and confirm these events using Windows Event Logs. Steps. Create a new user in Active Directory. Log into your domain controller DC. Open Active Directory Users and Computers, ADUC. Right-click on an organizational unit, OU. Choose New User. Fill out the user details. First name, John. Last name, Doe. Username, Doe. Set a password. Check. User must change password at next logon, and click Finish. Delete the user account. Right-click on the newly created user Doe in ADUC and choose Delete. View event logs. Open Event Viewer, event.msc, on the domain controller. Navigate to Windows Logs Security. Look for Event ID 4720, User Account Created. Event ID 4726, User Account Deleted. Use the Filter Current Log option to filter for these event IDs. Expected outcome. Event ID 4720 shows details of the newly created account. Event ID 4726 shows details of the deleted account. Verification. Confirm both events have the correct account name, Doe, and the user who created or deleted the account. Best practices. Ensure audit account management is enabled in group policy. Use descriptive usernames to avoid confusion. Exercise 2. Monitoring logon success and failures. Event IDs 4624, 4625. Objective. Learn how to identify successful and failed logon events. Scenario. John Doe logs into his workstation, but he forgets his password and fails twice before successfully logging in. Your job is to monitor and verify these logon events. Steps. Simulate a logon attempt. Log into a Windows workstation as Doe. Enter the wrong password twice. Enter the correct password on the third attempt. View event logs. On the domain controller, open Event Viewer. Go to Windows Logs Security. Look for Event ID 4625, Failed Logon Attempts. Event ID 4624, Successful Logon. Use the Filter Current Log option to locate these event IDs. Analyze the events. Look for the logon type in Event ID 4625. It should show Interactive, Type 2. Check the account name, Doe, and source machine. Expected outcome. 246.25 events for failed logins. 146.24 event for the successful login. Verification. Verify the correct timestamps and usernames for all three events. Troubleshooting. Ensure the workstation is properly connected to the domain. Exercise 3. Investigating scheduled task changes. Event IDs 4698, 4702. Objective. Learn to monitor scheduled task creation and modification events. Scenario. A malicious user has created a scheduled task that runs a script. Your job is to identify the task creation and updates in the event viewer. Steps. Create a scheduled task. On a workstation or server, open Task Scheduler, tasks.msc. Click Create Basic Task. Name, Cleanup Task. Action, Start a Program. Program, Notepad.exe. Schedule, Daily. Finish the wizard. Modify the scheduled task. Right-click on the task and select Properties. Update the program to run Command exe. View event logs. On the workstation, open Event Viewer. Navigate to Windows Logs Security. Look for Event ID 4698. Scheduled task was created. Event ID 4702. Scheduled task was updated. Expected outcome. Event ID 4698. Shows the task creation details. Event ID 4702. Shows the update to the task. Verification. Confirm the task name, cleanup task, and the user who created/modified the task. Exercise 4. Auditing PowerShell execution. Event IDs 4103, 4104. Objective. Learn how to detect and audit PowerShell script execution. Scenario. An administrator runs a PowerShell script to download a file, and you need to detect it. Steps. Enable PowerShell logging. Open Group Policy Management, gpmc.msc. Navigate to Computer Configuration, Administrative Templates, Windows Components, Windows PowerShell. Enable. Turn on PowerShell module logging. Turn on PowerShell script block logging. Run a PowerShell script. Open PowerShell as an administrator and run. PowerShell. Copy code. Invoke web request. URI. http://example.com. Outfile c:/temp/test.txt. View event logs. Go to Applications and Services Logs, Microsoft, Windows, PowerShell Operational. Look for Event ID 4103, Pipeline Execution. Event ID 4104, Script Block Execution. Expected outcome. Event ID 4104 logs the PowerShell command. Verification. Confirm the invoke web request command and username in the event log. Exercise 5. Tracking object access to files. Event ID 4663. Objective. Learn how to audit file and folder access in Active Directory. Scenario. A confidential file is being accessed inappropriately. You must enable auditing and identify access attempts. Steps. Enable object access auditing. Open Group Policy Management. Navigate to Computer Configuration, Policies, Windows Settings, Security Settings, Advanced Audit Policy Configuration, Object Access. Enable Audit Object Access for success and failure. Set folder auditing. Right-click on a folder, e.g., C:\confidential. Go to Properties, Security, Advanced Auditing. Add auditing for everyone with access types read and write. Access the folder. Open the folder and open a file. View event logs. Go to Windows Logs Security. Look for Event ID 4663. Expected outcome. Event ID 4663 logs access to the folder or file. Verification. Confirm the file name, access type, and username in the event log. Exercise 6. Monitoring Kerberos authentication. Event IDs 4768, 4769. Objective. Understand how Kerberos authentication works in AD. Scenario. A user logs into their workstation, and you need to verify Kerberos authentication events. Steps. Log in as a user. Log into a domain joined workstation as DO. View event logs. Open Event Viewer on the domain controller. Navigate to Windows Logs Security. Look for Event ID 4768. Ticket Granting Ticket, TGT, requested. Event ID 4769. Service Ticket requested. Expected outcome. Event ID 4768 logs the user authentication. Event ID 4769 shows the service access. Verification. Confirm the username, DO, and authentication type. Bonus challenge. Detect and troubleshoot brute force logon attempts. Simulate multiple failed logons for a test account and identify the 4,625 events. Write a PowerShell script to extract all failed logon events within the last hour. Environment and tools required. A virtual lab with domain controller, Windows Server. At least one domain joined workstation. Access to group policy management, Active Directory users and computers, and event viewer. These exercises combine learning, troubleshooting, and best practices to help junior IT administrators gain hands-on experience with event logging in Active Directory. Let me know if you'd like expanded details for any specific exercise. Rocket.
So as you can see here, very, very good answer. If you go to Claude and try to see also the answer, now we can begin comprehending or understanding the events, how we can monitor them, how we can examine them, how to do that, the events or the actions related to these event IDs, a lot of things. So let's read the answer of Claude. If we tell him to begin from here.
Let me design a comprehensive set of hands-on exercises for learning Windows Event Log Analysis in an Active Directory environment. Required lab environment. One domain controller running Windows Server 2019/2022. Two member workstations running Windows 10/11. Domain admin access for initial setup. Standard user accounts for testing. PowerShell 5.1 or later. Exercise 1. Basic Authentication Monitoring Objective. Learn to track and interpret basic login events across the domain. Scenario. Your company has reported unusual login attempts during non-business hours. You need to set up monitoring for authentication events. Steps. Configure authentication audit policy. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag on domain controller auditpol/set/category. Account logon/success. Enable/failure. Enable auditpol/set/category. Logon/logoff/success. Enable/failure. Enable. Create test scenarios. Attempt login with incorrect password 3 times. Successfully log in with correct password. Lock an account by exceeding maximum attempts. Review events in Event Viewer. Open Event Viewer. Navigate to Security Log. Filter for event IDs. 4624, 4625, 4771, 4768. Verification. Locate failed login attempts. Event ID 4625. Find successful authentication. Event ID 4768. Identify account lockout events. Document timestamps and source workstations. Expected outcome. You should see a clear trail of authentication attempts including failed login attempts with error codes, successful authentication events, account lockout status changes. Exercise 2. Group Membership Monitoring Objective. Set up and interpret security group membership changes. Scenario. You need to track changes to sensitive security groups like domain admins. Steps. Enable Advanced Audit Policy. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag via group policy GPO name, security group monitoring, set GP registry value name, security group monitoring. Key, HKLM /system /current control set /services /event log /security. Value name, group membership changes, type D word, value 1. Create test activities. Add user to domain admins group. Remove user from domain admins group. Modify group scope. Create new security group. Monitor events. Filter security log for event IDs. 4728, 4729, 4732, 4733. Document who made changes and when. Verification. Locate group membership changes. Identify who performed modifications. Verify timestamp accuracy. Exercise 3. Service Account Activity Monitoring Objective. Learn to track service account behavior and changes. Scenario. Monitor service account usage and detect unauthorized modifications. Steps. Enable Service Audit Policy. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag via PowerShell $audit policy equals new object system. Security.access control file system audit rule. Everyone, read and execute. Success. $ACL equals get ACL, HKLM. /system /current control set /services, $ACL that add audit rule, $audit policy. SAL path HKLM. /system /current control set /services. ACL object, $ACL. Create test activities. Start/stop a service. Modify service login account. Change service startup type. Review related events. Event ID 7040, service changes. Event ID 4697, service installation. Event ID 7045, new service installed. Verification. Track service modifications. Identify unauthorized changes. Document service account usage. Exercise 4. PowerShell activity monitoring objective. Set up PowerShell script block logging and track PowerShell usage. Scenario. Monitor PowerShell activity for potential security concerns. Steps. Enable PowerShell logging. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag via group policy set item property path HKLM. /software /wow 6432 node /policies /Microsoft /Windows /PowerShell /script block logging. Name enable script block logging. Value 1. Test PowerShell activities. Run remote commands. Execute scripts. Use encoded commands. Review PowerShell logs. Event ID 4103, module logging. Event ID 4104, script block logging. Windows PowerShell log. Verification. Locate executed commands. Identify suspicious patterns. Track remote PowerShell usage. Exercise 5. File access auditing objective. Configure and monitor access to sensitive files. Scenario. Track access to confidential documents in a shared folder. Steps. Configure object access auditing. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag enable object access auditing auditpol/set/subcategory. File system /success. Enable/failure. Enable hashtag set folder auditing $folder equals C /confidential $sil equals Gale $folder $audit rule equals new object system. Security to access control file system audit rule. Everyone read and execute. Success. $ACL add audit rule $audit rule. Sale $folder $ACL. Test file access. Open files. Modify contents. Copy files. Delete files. Review access events. Event ID 4656, handle requested. Event ID 4663, access attempt. Event ID 4660, object deleted. Verification. Track file access patterns. Identify unauthorized attempts. Document access timestamps. Exercise 6. Log collection and forwarding objective. Set up centralized log collection. Scenario. Configure Windows event forwarding for centralized monitoring. Steps. Configure WEF collector. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag on collector server wekutl qc/qwinrm quick config hashtag. Create subscription wekutl cs. Forwarded events.xml. Configure source computers. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag via group polisicdate/force hashtag configure forwarding winrm quick config q. Verify forwarding. Check forwarded events log. Validate event collection. Monitor subscription status. Verification. Confirm events are forwarding. Check for missing events. Verify timing accuracy. Bonus challenge. Create a PowerShell script that monitors for specific security events. Sends email alerts for critical events. Generates daily summary reports. Handles log rotation and archiving. These exercises progressively build understanding while providing practical experience with Windows event logging in an AD environment. Each exercise reinforces security best practices and provides real-world scenarios you'll encounter as an IT administrator. Remember to document your findings and create baseline measurements for normal activity patterns. This will help you identify unusual behavior more effectively in the future.
So as we can see here, this is the answer of Claude, and it tends to use PowerShell scripts more often to achieve his objective, which is very good because most of our IT administrators prefer this method for achieving things, especially if you are talking about doing certain events on a bulk of servers or workstations. So the PowerShell will be an effective way to do that. As for ChatGPT, it uses the graphical interface and some PowerShell scripts, but I think Claude focuses more on that. So after that, we need to create a security incident. Okay, in it we can use these events and try to see how we can use the event viewer to check for this event in a case of a hacking process or something. But before that, even I will try to ask Claude to explain these events, but not through exercises, but through a dialogue between a junior IT and this senior IT. You have seen this method will, or this method uh, uh, let the AI give us more creative answers than the normal process of just telling him to explain a certain concept. Here we are talking about two different views of the topic, from a junior view and from a senior view. This helps the topic to be explained more effectively, okay, to be explained in a simple way than in a technical way. This will help the learning process to be much engaging. Okay, so I will stop here at this and continue in a certain amount of time, or I think maybe we can in the upcoming video, because I think we have reached 1 hour. So I think in the upcoming video we'll begin talking about the security incident to see how the events are to be incorporated in a security event, and also the dialogue between the junior and the senior IT. So I think we can stop here and continue in the upcoming video. Hope this video is informative for you all. I thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.